You think you want the reward, but your brain only cares about the chase. This anticipatory surge of dopamine is the real reason you stay stuck. Today, we stop fighting your biology and start using it. It's time to master the craving and make your transformation automatic.
New section: 4 Keys to Creating Habits. Now that you know how habits form, you can alter each stage to your advantage to create new, beneficial habits. Clear presents 4 keys for doing so, one for each stage. Key 1. Cues. Identify and use them to your advantage. Clear explains that since habits are automatic behaviors, you likely don't notice every cue triggering you to act. Therefore, the first step in creating cues that lead to good behaviors is to become aware of them. To develop awareness of your behavior, Clear recommends listing all your current daily habits. Because behaviors influence each other, the end of one habit often serves as a cue for another. When you list your habits, you'll notice which actions precede them and which follow. By listing your cues and rewards in this way, you'll discover which current behaviors could cue new desired behaviors. For example, say you want to drink more water. You could drink a glass of water immediately after you turn off your alarm each morning. Note: many authors have argued that to change an unwanted behavior, you must first consciously identify it. When following Clear's advice to do so, consider creating a time log. Spend a week tracking what you do every half hour. Knowing exactly how you spend time might help you notice habits you weren't aware of, like if you play an online game after every meal. Use awareness to your advantage. Clear recommends exploiting your newfound awareness of your habits in 2 ways to form better habits. The first technique Clear recommends is to plan in advance when and where you'll perform a new behavior. Use the formula, when X occurs, I will do Y. This strategy makes the cue noticeable by attributing a specific time and place to the behavior. Plus, research suggests that you're more likely to do activities you pre-schedule. For example, if your list of habits has a gap between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m., consider scheduling a new behavior during that time. For example, you might choose to study for an hour every day at 6 p.m. Note: psychologists agree that planning a habit in advance works partly because it makes you more aware of the cue, but there are other reasons too. Notably, failing to honor a clear if-then goal makes you uncomfortable. Telling others amplifies this discomfort because then failing your goal also causes embarrassment. So consider sharing your intention too. The second technique Clear recommends is habit chaining, which he calls habit stacking. With this technique, instead of linking a desired behavior to an event, like a time of day, you link the behavior to an existing habit you do every day. Use the formula, after I do X, I will do Y. For example, after I put my dinner dishes in the sink, I will study for 1 hour. This strategy makes the cue noticeable by connecting a desired habit to a fully formed habit. Note: Clear argues that single habits compound into massive changes that improve your life. Similarly, in the 5 a.m. Club, leadership expert Robin Sharma contends that developing the right morning routine, the right habit chain, will compound into massive changes that improve your life. Sharma recommends waking at 5 a.m., then exercising for 20 minutes, reflecting for 20 minutes, and learning for 20 minutes. This morning ritual sets a foundation of focus and productivity that you continue throughout each day, and by repeating it daily, you lead a more focused and productive life. Clear adds that to make a cue obvious, you must be as specific as possible in the behavior that will follow. Knowing exactly where, when, and how you'll do an action makes doing it easier. You must also ensure the cue is realistic. If the logistics surrounding a new behavior don't support its implementation, it won't get done. For example, saying, I'll study at my desk, specific location, after putting dishes in the sink, specific cue, For 1 hour, specific intention is better than saying, "I'll study after dinner." But if the hour after dinner is the only time you socialize with your roommate, it's unrealistic to plan a study session then. Note: research suggests that being specific about your behavior helps partly because pre-planning good behavior makes you less likely to put off doing it. However, being too specific can backfire if you have unrealistic expectations, like if you only want to study when your kids are asleep. Consider lowering your expectations and settling for good enough. For example, if you have kids, study when the kids are quieter, not just when they're asleep. Key 2. Craving. Increase the appeal of a new habit. You can also make creating habits easier with techniques that affect the second stage of habit formation, the craving. Clear contends that cravings lead to action because you want a reward, not because you enjoy the reward itself. Say you eat chocolate for the first time. Your brain will release a neurotransmitter called dopamine after you experience the pleasure of eating chocolate. Now, whenever you see chocolate, your brain will release dopamine because you anticipate the pleasure of eating it. It's this anticipatory surge of dopamine that drives you to act, not the dopamine you feel after you feel pleasure. Note: in The Willpower Instinct, health psychologist Kelly McGonigal demonstrates how much power anticipation can have by describing how desire and dopamine drive action even if you don't enjoy the reward. If you're hooked on chocolate, you'll continue to eat a chocolate bar even if it's stale. This is due to dopamine. Your brain expects chocolate to be delicious, so your dopamine transmitters try to convince you that the next bite will be more delicious. It's wanting, not experiencing, the reward that drives the behavior. If anticipation drives action, Clear hypothesizes you should maximize the appeal of a desired behavior so that you anticipate it more. Clear outlines several ways you can do this, 2 of which are: 1. Associating the new habit with other, positive behaviors, and 2. Reframing the struggle of a new habit in a positive light. 1. Connect habits you should do to things you want to do. Clear's first strategy for increasing the appeal of a new habit is to sandwich a desired behavior between something you already do and something you want to do. Use the formula, after X, current habit, I will do Y, new habit. After I do Y, I get to do Z, craved habit. For example, say you struggle to study after dinner because you'd rather play video games. Try saying to yourself, after I eat dinner, I will study for an hour. After I study for an hour, I get to play video games for an hour. Soon, you'll crave the study session because you'll start to associate it with the more pleasurable activities. Note: only doing something you want to do after something you should do requires a lot of willpower. You might think to yourself, why not just play video games without studying? In The Willpower Instinct, McGonigal explains that you can combat temptations like this by adjusting your physiology with techniques like slowing your breathing. This turns on your pause and plan response, which protects you from making decisions that are bad for you. 2. Redefine behaviors as opportunities instead of obligations. Clear's second strategy for increasing the appeal of a new habit is to redefine your behaviors. Reframe obligations as opportunities. This small change in perspective leads you to focus on the positive elements of the behavior. If you have the opportunity to study, you start to appreciate how lucky you are to be able to work towards your dream job. Focusing on the reward, the dream job, helps you view your struggles as steps to your goal, which increases your motivation to do the behavior, study. Note: focusing on the reward of a behavior you view as an obligation to make yourself do it is a form of extrinsic motivation. You're doing the behavior because you want the extrinsic external reward. In Drive, author Daniel Pink argues that extrinsic motivation works for routine tasks, but can actually decrease creativity. So if you're trying to implement a creative habit, like painting every day, you may want to skip this strategy.
To build better habits, you must make your cues obvious and your cravings irresistible. By stacking new actions onto existing routines, you stop leaving your success to chance. But even a clear cue isn't enough if the work feels too hard. In the next chapter, we explore the 2-minute rule and show you how to make consistency the path of least resistance. Subscribe to master the full system, like if this video helped you, and comment which habit you're stacking today. The final keys to transformation are waiting for you right here.